Hello, my name is Samantha Kinney, and I am the scenic designer for the group Scarab.
Hi, I'm Sean Taylor. I was the light design for the group Scarab.
Hi, my name is Lexi Tabor, and I'm the costume designer for the group Scarab.
Hi there, my name is Blaze Rec, and I was part of the group Scarab, best group ever. So I was the sound designer for my group.
So the way that I started off my process was that I started with a little bit of research. So I made a mood board. I started off with a color palette because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do yellow sand or black sand to go outside the domes, and I wasn't really sure what color would work best with the blue, gray, silver kind of vibe that we have throughout the whole story. Then I moved into a simple sketch, just kind of like what I kind of want the domes to look like. And then I have a little bit of research over here as to what the glass panes should look like / what the tunnels that connect the domes might kind of look like.
Our village is enclosed in bubble structures, so it's very important how the lighting affects and interacts with the environment. So for most of ours, since it's indoors, I did a very motivated light scheme.
And I looked a lot mainly at the silhouettes of all the characters and their costumes because they're very Middle Eastern inspired, and I like the silhouettes of that type of clothing, and I used that as an inspiration for a lot of the costumes here.
I'd like to talk to you today about two of the scenes of the storyboard in which I did do the sound for, and which, in my opinion, stuck out the most. So the first one was the very first picture, which was Mallory's mom being taken away, and the most difficult part was kind of like deciphering whether or not to use some sort of like fighting and scuff, like struggling noises, which I did incorporate within the sound layers. So I used those, and it really added a little bit more of like dramatic effect within the scene to give you like, you know, like you felt like you were there. And then the next one that I did was the house burning, Dr. Reke's house burning. And it was really interesting because I just used like the flames of the fire, and I started off with a lighter flick, and then I went on through the roaring fire and then the dying of the fire.
There's a scene when the Dr. Rex house is burnt down, and for that, obviously, we had to do a different kind of lighting that mirrored what the action was. So violent lighting, colored lighting, and then for other moments, like Mallory finds the book that her mother gave her, and that really sets off the whole story. For that, I wanted to use very dramatic lighting, high contrast, very directional, intense, with strong shadows around.
I've got a rough sketch of just kind of like what I'm hoping the ground plan might kind of turn out to be like. And then I've got a little bit more research images on the general like outside aspect of the area, and just like the fact that I would like the dome to be slightly bubble and iridescent-esque. Then, once I finished my research, I moved into creating my designs, and then I eventually had my final designs. So first I started with my ground plan for the entire village, which shows just kind of like how it starts from the upper class and slowly moves out to the lower class as you get farther and farther from the center dome. Then I decided to illustrate how I think it would look outside when Mallory finally leaves the bubble village. Then I went and illustrated the various places that are shown throughout the story. So first we have Mallory's mother's study, which I have illustrated with full color renderings, and this is the only illustration that has full color renderings. Then I move into the tunnel systems, which interweb all of the various domes in our village. And this is just like the general outline for what they would look like. Then I went in to create the town square, which has kind of like a monument of the sun, since the sun is kind of sacred where they live. Then I went and did Dr. Rex's house and study. It's kind of similar to Mallory's mother's study because they were working together. And then finally, I have the common area at Mallory's home, and that is all that I created for my designs. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.
So instead of doing a normal citizen, because our main character Mallory is a normal citizen, I thought that would be too similar to hers, so I chose to do a government soldier instead, because that is who abducts Mallory's mom and also who burns down Dr. Rex's house, or Reki, whatever we're calling him. And I looked to the movie Allegiant, which was in the Divergent series, and they have soldiers in this one part, and they're like deserty, and you can tell they have the silhouettes that are seen in like Tatooine, like I said before. So I looked to that, and that's where I got like the main silhouette for them, and I gave them a cool little helmet with a triangle-shaped visor because that angular kind of gives them their little evil edge. And then moving on to Dr. Rek. He starts out as a good guy and then kind of turns into a bad guy, so I wanted to keep him kind of dark and light, so that's why his lab coat isn't the traditional white, it's navy. And his collar is also inspired from the Middle Eastern necklines, and that's pretty much all I did for him. And then moving on to Mallory, I looked to Rey from The Force Awakens. So yeah, I looked to her because I liked her kind of like rugged, almost like scrappy kind of look with her costume, and I liked the bandages on her arms because I also came up with the idea that the villagers, as they age, they get like tattoos to kind of signify that. So she is having one on her arm that's healing, so that's why she has the bandages on that one arm. And then I gave her like a wrap top similar to hers, but it's not, it's kind of like, it's like newer looking because her family used to be in like the upper class, but then they moved to the lower class, so now it has like holes in it. And yeah, I just kind of looked to Rey to give her that like desert heroine kind of vibe, and that's pretty much all I did for the costumes.
Woohoo! Hell yeah! Scene.